What's up, everyone? In this video, I'm going to break down a few of the different pieces that make up JuJu Watkins' shooting form. I'll show you her mechanics right before she shoots, like her stance and how she points her feet, and also during her shot at different checkpoints, like her shot pocket, set point, release, and follow through. Alright, let's dive in. So let's start with her shooting stance. JuJu has a wide stance. When shooting, she has her feet wider than shoulder width apart from each other. As she bends her legs, her knees collapse inwards to varying degrees. Her right knee caves in much more than her left, and that's because her right foot is out wider than her left. See how it's outside of her shoulder? Her left foot is in more. It's in line with her shoulder, so it makes sense that her left knee isn't coming in as much. Having at least one knee collapse in is something that a lot of shooters do, especially when taking a wide stance. Okay, as for her feet, JuJu points her feet to the left when she shoots. The basket is to her right. See how her feet are pointing towards us right now, to the left of the basket? So she points her feet to the left, and she also puts her right foot ahead of her left one. Or another way to say it is her right foot is closer to the basket than her left foot. See how her right foot is closer to the free throw line here? And you can see her feet pointing left again. The basket's this way. Most right-handed shooters do both these things, because by pointing her feet left and putting her right foot ahead of her left, this turns her whole body to the left and puts her release more in line with the basket. Okay, last thing with her stance, her balance. On her regular jump shots, where she's not fading or anything, JuJu leans to the left. So most of her body weight is over her left leg and knee, which, given how much her right knee is caved in, this takes some pressure off that right knee, but it does add a little more to the left one. Alright, let's move on to the start of JuJu's shot. JuJu's shot begins with the ball at her shot pocket, which is in the middle of her body. And sometimes she starts with the ball right at waist level. And other times she starts with the ball above her waist. Either way, from her shot pocket, she then begins to raise the ball up to her set point, which I'll talk about in the next section. Now, if shooting off the catch, JuJu quickly dips the ball before raising it up to her set point. There's not a lot of movement to it, it's very quick. Here it is at half speed. And full speed. So that was shooting off the catch. If shooting off the dribble, JuJu doesn't dip it. After gathering the ball, she raises it right up to her set point. Dipping the ball is a way to get momentum as you raise up and shoot, but when shooting off the dribble, you get momentum off that last dribble. And then there's one other thing I want to point out that JuJu does when shooting off the dribble. This is when dribbling with her left hand. Check out her right arm. See how it's bent? As she takes that last dribble with her left hand, she's got her right arm bent with her elbow close to her body. And she's also got her right hand sort of hanging out, waiting for the ball. Left hand dribble. Right arm is bent, elbow tucked in close to her body. Right hand waiting to meet the ball, and she even kind of slaps it down on the ball right at the end here. And then again, from here, she raises the ball up to her set point, which I'll talk about in a minute. Okay, let's talk about JuJu's shooting mechanics at her set point now, or the transition point between when JuJu raises the ball into the air and when she starts actually shooting the ball to the basket. Raises the ball, set point, starts to shoot. So that transition point is right here. It's quick. This is her set point. As far as where the ball is when JuJu reaches her set point, she actually has two variations. Here's her set point when shooting threes. The bottom of the ball is a little lower than the top of her head, and the ball is in front of her face. But when shooting mid-range shots, JuJu brings the ball up higher. Now the ball is just above the top of her head, and it's back behind her face a bit. Ball is above her head and back a little bit. This higher set point in the mid-range helps her get her shot off over defenders. This lower set point from behind the arc helps her get her shot off quicker. Here's a side-by-side of the two so you can see the difference. That's a three-pointer on the left and a mid-range shot on the right. Either way, for both of her set points, JuJu has the ball in the middle of her body. This is mid-range. Here's a three. And to hold the ball in the middle like this, JuJu tilts her forearm and wrist over to the side. She's got her elbow facing the basket, but her forearm and wrist tilt over to the left. Because of this tilt, JuJu's shooting hand is under the ball and over to the right side a bit when she reaches her set point. This means her shooting palm is facing up and to her left. As for her guide hand at her set point, it's over to the left side of the ball. Okay, last few things I want to point out with JuJu's set point. On her three-point shots, at her set point, her shooting elbow is a little lower than parallel with the ground. On mid-range shots, it's pointed up more, and that's because she holds the ball up higher. To do that, you gotta raise your elbow up. And then with both set points, she has her wrist flexed back a little less than 90 degrees, which is something she does as she raises the ball to her set point. Let's go back to her gather. Look at her wrist. It's not flexed, it's straight. But then, as she raises the ball up to her set point, she bends that wrist back. Same thing off the catch. Wrist is straight. Now it's flexed back. Some players do what JuJu's doing here. Others start their shot with their wrist already flexed. Alright, so that is JuJu's set point. Last part of JuJu's shooting form that I'm going to break down for you here in this video, her release and her follow through. Let's go back to her set point real quick. Again, at her set point, JuJu's forearm and wrist are tilted over to her left a bit, which causes her shooting palm to face up and to the left. Watch JuJu's form as she goes to release the ball. As she progresses from her set point to her release, she rotates her wrist and forearm a bit so that right before she shoots, her shooting palm is now facing straight up. It's not facing left anymore. And now, as she snaps her wrist, she snaps her hand straight towards the basket. Her shooting hand goes from facing up and to the left at her set point to facing straight up right before her release. She then snaps her wrist forward towards the basket and the ball goes straight. On her follow through, JuJu fully extends her shooting arm, locking out her elbow. And her elbow finishes high above her head, which is going to give her great arc on her shot. JuJu also rotates her body to the left on her release. Watch how her body turns left here. You can also tell by how her feet finish. Rotating like this is a way to get a little extra power and range on your shot. Okay, last thing on JuJu's release, how she removes her guide hand. As she begins to snap her shooting wrist forward to shoot the ball, JuJu bends her left wrist back to get it off the ball and out of the way of her release. Her stance, how she points her feet, her shot pocket, set point, release, and follow through. These are a few of the different pieces that make up the shooting form of JuJu Watkins. Hope you enjoyed this one and learned a thing or two. If you like this one, definitely check out my other shooting form breakdowns, and I'll put a link to those in the description. Alright, that's going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.